Welcome to Hedigham Castle, home of Classics at the Castle, a Porsche car show run by Porsche enthusiasts for Porsche enthusiasts. A big highlight of this year's show is the celebration of 40 years of the Carrera RS. So a wonderful lineup of 911 RSs to be seen later, including a very famous owner's aubergine coloured RS, which is looking absolutely fantastic. As well as that, some Le Mans winning cars here. Richard Atwood's number 23 917 on show. Wonderful lineup of 356s, 914s, lots of wonderful Porsches, old and new, and some lovely, very enthusiastic owners into the bargain. Classics at the Castle houses some fantastic cars, old and new. None more so than this example behind me, a gorgeous 1964 356C, owned by Paul Jackson. Paul, the car's delightful to look at. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's a 1964 356C, originally from California. I'm the second owner. I've had it since 1990. We've done considerable amount of work, replaced the floor pan, a few other bits and bobs, but otherwise it's been very good. It's a good car.
Yeah. And what's the car like to drive?
60 mile an hour all day. To drive, like a go-kart, I would say.
And obviously it is a very pleasant car to look at, but what's the attraction for you? Why a 356?
Enthusiasm, really. And when you get in the car, if you get in the car and drive it, you'll see why. It is like a go-kart. It's nice to drive, and I enjoy it. It's just the look of it as well. I do like the look of it. Once you get it set up, that's it. Just leave it alone and drive it. Put the petrol in, check the oil. It's air-cooled, doesn't freeze in winter. So no, it's a good car.
And obviously lots of 356s here today, so it must be quite exciting for you as an owner to be amongst that.
Yes, it's great. It's an all-friendly atmosphere. Everybody's friendly. Really enjoyed it today. It's been good.
Brilliant. Well, we've been lucky with the weather. Had a great day. The car's fantastic, Paul. It's a credit to you. Thanks very much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
So, celebrating 40 years of the RS, as we can see around us here, a fantastic array of RSs, old and new. One shining example, definitely standing out in the crowd, is this aubergine car behind me, lovingly owned by JK.
Yep. Can
you tell us a little bit about the car?
I haven't had it long, actually. I've had it just a few months, and so it's one of 16, I believe, and it's one of the few cars that you can have from 40 years old that still works every day. You can get into it, get to the shop. You could drive this to down to Stuttgart and back with no problems at all, and that's what makes them so special. The trouble is they're not going to make any more of these. That's it. So whatever's out there is out there, and cars don't have quite the same pizzazz as they used to have. Saying that though, I mean, I've just got a Sport Classic, which I'm very happy about, and I think is a wonderful thing and beautifully finished inside, and a GT3 RS at home. We've got a 55 Speedster, Pre-A Speedster, Bjorn Voldergaard's 9146 GT works car, so the 71 works car, which is fun, So we're not doing badly, and a club sport, because everybody's got to have a 968.
Fantastic. Well, can I thank you for taking the time to chat to us. Brilliant to see the car and you here, and enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'm very excited. I've got a little rosette on now.
A wonderful array of cars, old and new. Perfect example here, the number 23 917 gave Porsche their first outright win at Le Mans in 1970, and beside me, again, the infamous Richard Atwood, who drove this car to victory in 1970. Richard, big privilege to see you beside the car. Can you tell us a little bit about this car and what it was like to drive?
Well, in the early days, the first of the 917s were not very nice to drive because they were aerodynamically unstable, but this particular car became very stable and became a very good car. We had the small engine, so we actually didn't have the fastest car there at all. We had 5 litres, or the 4.9s were much quicker than we were. but we ended up winning it because everybody else seemed to have trouble. And in fact, after only 10 hours of the race, we were in the lead, which was ridiculous because I didn't expect to be in the lead at any time. But and we then maintained that to the end. So actually, it was very uncomfortable to lead all the way through, because if you're catching somebody, it's much easier to drive your race, but to defend the lead is much more difficult. And it was very wet that year as well, so it was tricky.
It must be emotional for you to see the car. How do you feel when you see the car again?
It's like a very familiar face, or it's like an old friend. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Richard, it's great to see you here. Big privilege to see you with the car, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Yeah, no, well, I'm sure we will.
I've owned it for 14 years. It was imported into the UK in 1996. It had had one owner in the States for 30 years in Los Angeles. I believe there are about 1,800. It's been fitted with uprated carburettors and stainless steel exhaust, but otherwise it's very much a standard car. It's wonderful to drive, especially on a day like today with the roof off. It was Porsche's first attempt at making a Targa top, and they started off with the zip-in rear window. Later on it was replaced with a glass window. But they are quite a rare car, and you've three options. You can take the roof off, or you can zip out the rear window. So you can have a convertible, a coupe, or just a rear window out. My wife, she says it will be the last thing we ever sell.
I'm not one of these guys who just likes the old cars or just likes the new cars. This one was of interest because it was last time by Magnus Walker. But this car was originally built before he had it by Andy Al in North America as well, and they're the ones who built the engine. It was built by a 911 Motorsport team, and then from there Magnus bought it. He's made a few cosmetic changes, and I've continued to develop that since I've had it as well. I've had various 911s. The other car that I tend to drive a lot now, I've got a Porsche Boxster Spider, which is just brilliant because it has very similar kind of attributes to this car. It's kind of pure, very simple, no frills, no fuss. This car's just great fun. I mean, you're not going to drive it to work every day, but if you're having a bad day, you can nip out and jump in the car for 10 minutes and you've got a smile on your face. Phenomenal. I mean, they're just so capable.
This is a 356A 1500 GS Carrera. This is one of only two cars built in 1955 in right-hand drive form. Well, it's what's known amongst collectors and people who are looking to purchase cars as a matching numbered car, i.e. there is a Cardex at Porsche which gives all the original information about this car when it was built. This was Porsche's first production car. It's the thing that established them. Not this particular model, but the 356. And then in 63, 64, 65, when the 356 was phased out, I think the coming of the 911 was the sort of shock of the new for a lot of people. A car with a Porsche badge on the front is never going to disappoint because it is a quality product. This is historic.
It's a really great event. I really like it.
It's a Porsche enthusiast event, and like-minded members of the club and members of the public who are just here to see the cars and to talk about the cars.
You get people coming along who said, "Oh, I used to own that car in 1965," which is, wonderful for the current owner.
People always kind of say, "Oh, what a great event it is, how fantastic it is," but it's the people that come here that actually make the event. It's relaxed, it's laid back.
It's still nice that there's a lot of people that really cherish the cars, actually getting the cars out on the road and getting to events like this for other people to see them, and especially the parade, which I think is great to actually see them moving rather than static displays.
We're always looking for what can we bring together to give the event a little bit of spin, and we've got some fantastic turbos here today.
It's always good to meet Richard, and it's always good to see the 917, and the fact that Jürgen's been able to come over is fantastic.
In 2012 we were here, beside us was a 1965 ivory white 911, and I said to my wife, I absolutely need a car like that. When I was very, very small, when I couldn't talk, I didn't eat. And my mother always sat me beside the window. When the car was coming down the street, she told me, Ansgar, look, car. And my mouth opened and I was fed. That's how I grew up.
The car we're standing next to is a 1986 Turbo SE. I started off with a 930 3-litre turbo, and I love them both.
It's a meeting of friends, and it's a very special day.
It's like a jigsaw. If each piece is wonderful, then we get a fantastic overview.
You have to understand that Porsche are a company that started off from small beginnings, and they've never lost sight of the fact that it's these humble beginnings that have created the company that they are today.
Fantastic event. The old historic cars, newer ones as well. Everyone is really excited and really glad and grateful to be here.
I think it's important also for participation, the people that have the cars, that they can bring them out. People that don't really know about the early cars or even the later cars, you get to see the full range of what Porsche have done right from the early start.
Porsche's engineering has always been about perfecting a better car for the customer on the road.
I think evolution is better than reinvention. Porsche proved this time and time again, and they should stick to it.
As we know, Porsche have been right at the cutting edge of engineering, whether you're talking about the 4-cam engine back in the 50s, or if you're talking about the modern Porsches with PDK, Kerr systems, hybrids. Racing really has brought them to the front.
Racing is a test bed for things to come, and it's always worked that way, and Porsche's done a very good job at it.
60 years of Carrera this year, so we're showing every single Carrera that we can that's gone through the model years.
And then we see what's happening at Le Mans today with 1 and 2 wins, a modern car with lots and lots of engineering, harks exactly back to the Carrera Panamericana of the early 50s.
Victory in Le Mans, and now last weekend at Nürburgring. These results are just great. In the future now, the developments they're doing in the hybrid cars, that's exactly what we will drive in 10 years' time in the road.
It's about the fact that, going back to old Dr. Porsche, they made race cars so that we could have good road cars.